My name's Theo, and I graduated from the University of Manchester with a Bachelor's of Electrical and Electronic Engineering back in 2015, and then I finished my PhD in the same subject in 2019. I now work for GE Renewable Energy on the research and development of power electronic converters for HVDC applications. So for the degree, I intended on doing the 5-year Masters of Engineering with a year in industry. But after taking sponsorship with the National Grid in my first year on the IET Power Academy, I then dropped the year in industry because I didn't feel it was necessary with my summer placements. And then just before the January exams in my third year, I accepted the position with a PhD with Professor Mike Barnes and Professor Peter R. Green. Because of that, I also dropped the MEng year, so in the end I actually graduated with bachelor's. Plans change, and for me that was absolutely the right path. It certainly won't be for all of you, but I think in the most part, try to use your first couple of years of your undergraduate degree to really determine what you're interested in. Because after specialising in your third and fourth year, you're going to start to close off some of your routes, and you're going to struggle to move across in disciplines. Taking on a PhD is a massive task, and it wasn't necessarily something I was initially interested in, but I came round to the idea when it was something that I was really keen on getting involved in. It gave me a really good opportunity to learn more deeply and to see if academia was potentially a career path I was interested in. So the first thing to understand is that getting a degree is not going to set you apart from other engineers. Almost 50,000 engineers are going to graduate this year, and while there is a massive demand in industry at the moment for engineers and people with degrees, COVID-19 and Brexit is going to make a really hostile economy for recent graduates in the UK. You're already going to be one step ahead of most graduates in that you've decided to study at the University of Manchester. It has one of the world's best electrical engineering programmes, and definitely one of the best in the UK. And it also is seen by industry as one of the best places to hire recent graduates. That isn't a reason to be complacent though. So I'm not aiming to try and impart any particular wisdom on you. It's going to be about my route, and these things are really personal. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of these videos telling you that extracurricular activities are really important, and that's because they are. However, the specifics of which extracurriculars you're going to do are ultimately down to you, and it's something that you're going to have to get involved in, and ultimately you want it to be something that you're really passionate about to get the best out of it. I am going to recommend that you do something that's not part of the engineering department, that gets you outside of that field or that circle bubble of people, because learning how to communicate effectively is going to be a key skill for you in industry. But if you really, really like engineering, then go ahead and get involved in something like Formula Student or EEE Society. Ultimately, they're going to be just as valuable for you in the future, but only if you engage. You have to really get involved in these clubs and actually put something into it, otherwise you've got nothing to talk about. So for me, that meant getting involved in something called Rotary International. Rotary International is a massive global humanitarian organisation that's involved in projects such as eradicating polio. Now, I worked on a much smaller scale. I joined a club called Rotaract Manchester International, which is kind of the young person's version of Rotary. I started as a member, I then became treasurer, and then I became the president of the club during the third year of my degree. Because Rotaract and Rotary are not just based in Manchester, they're on a global scale, I then had the opportunity to go even further within that organisation, and I became the representative for the District 1285, which is the Manchester district. I then got to speak at lots of conferences around the UK and visited loads of Rotary clubs to try and talk about Rotaract and getting them more involved as part of our clubs. During my PhD, I kind of started to ramp down my involvement in Rotary to focus on more relevant topics, things which were more specific to what I was doing. That included things like teaching, undergraduate labs, supporting supervisions, representing PhD students on the Health and Safety Committee, the Staff Student Liaison Committee, and also I got involved in wider field things, such as consulting on the MECD building, writing technical newsletters with my supervisor, and attending academic conferences all over the world. All of these things were really interesting, and they helped me to develop as a person and professionally, making me ready for industry. Networking at one of those events actually led to an invite from the consulting engineer at GE Renewable Energy, who asked us to come and present our research at the GE Engineering Week. Following that event, that particular engineer asked me to send in my CV, and it was that interaction that resulted in my interview with GE Renewable Energy and ultimately my employment. So I understand that applying for a job straight after a bachelor's or a master's is going to be slightly different to the experience that I had. But if you want to excel at things like situational interviews, then having lots of situations to talk about is only going to make those things easier. My role at GE is perfectly suited to my knowledge and the specialisms that I developed during the PhD, and it's something that I really enjoy. Unfortunately, I can't show you too much about what I do because it's commercially sensitive, but I get to spend a lot of the time in the lab testing, often blowing up devices, building things, putting things together, designing test plans. What's not to love? I wish you all luck in your degree and for the future. Enjoy your time at university. It's a really great place to meet new people, learn new things, and try something different. Be open and inclusive to all of those that are on the journey with you, so that when you come out the other end, you're ready to be the next industry leaders to drive real positive change. Thanks.